Good morning all. I'm not sure if you can hear me, my phone's a bit further away than normal. I'm Phil Monk, the person that set up We the Undersigned Have a Human Sovereign Right to Cannabis. My pain specialist agrees I should have cannabis. He believes it does help me. I shouldn't be criminalised for my practices, but unfortunately he can't provide it to me because it's on the NHS. And the NHS guidelines prevent that from happening. So on that basis I have to provide for myself because the NHS is failing me and I'm not wealthy enough to afford a private prescription. So I'm a victim of economic and medical discrimination. But aside from all that, I've been a big combustion head my whole life. I've always smoked cannabis. I used to smoke it for pleasure and now I smoke it for pain. But I know smoking's not good for me, and I have a good friend in the vape industry who wants me to stop smoking. And because I've got limited money, I'm pretty much broke, I can't really afford to keep buying different vapes to find out which one works and which one's got enough battery for me and all that sort of business. You know, I've bought several vapes over the years and they've all broke or not been adequate in power and various other things. So I've been gifted a couple of vapes and I've also been loaned several others. And I often see people in the group saying, can anyone recommend a vape? So I'm not actually going to recommend one as such, but I'm going to talk through what I have in the hope that it will help you make a better decision. So I'm going to start off with the Totem. I have put them in sort of order to what's in the list to help you remember. So this, I'm a bit gack-handed. This is the Totem. I'm not sure if that's upside down to you. Now I like this one because if I had dropped it, in all fairness, it wouldn't make a difference. It's got this lovely silicone coating all the way around it, so that's durable in terms of if you drop it, it's not going to break. Whereas some of the glass parts and things, they're going to break straight away. The beauty of the Totem is that it stacks up. I was originally gifted this from Claire Sperry after she won 3 of them in the raffle, I believe it was. So she gifted one back to me in the raffle. Can you hear me okay, Benjamin? Am I actually loud enough with my recording? Can you just give me a yes if you can, please? And then I know it's worth continuing with this. Give me a yes, Ben, if you can hear me okay. Nothing. I'll have to hope you can. So the beauty of the Totem, as its name suggests, is you can stack them up. Bear with me a moment, I want to figure out which way. It does stack up. That's that end, that's that end. There we go, there we go. So what you can do with the Totem is connect it together for a totem party. And you can have several of these running along. So what I'm going to do is just load up a couple, give you a little run through on how easy they are. So the Totem, have I checked battery? Nice one. The Totem has a little ceramic heating chamber. Ceramic's often considered to be the better sort because of metals, heavy metals on the other heating chambers. Nice one, Nick, glad you can hear. So the Totem, I'm happy to say, has got ceramic heating chambers. If you just get your favourite preferred aromatherapy blend for whatever purpose you use it for, and then you just pop it into the little oven. You don't want to ram it in too tight. You know, you don't want to pack it in too tight because if you do, you won't be able to breathe through it. But it is worth just giving it a little prod down with a poker or some sort. I'm not going to fill it too hard because I'm not going to actually go through the whole process here today. And the mouthpiece just simply pops back onto the end, like so. And you have a choice really. You can either then use it as a single unit of about this, yep, or you can do, I was gifted this, I believe if my memory serves correctly, there's a lot of names going through my head, Dulland from Wrexham. He lost the mouthpiece to his prize that he won in the prize in the raffle as well. So because he lost the mouthpiece, he then donated this to me so I could marry it up to this one and then we could have Totem parties. So when you're doubling it up, you get your second Totem and you fill it into the second chamber. I mean, this is probably a bit greedy for one person, but you know, if you're having a social occasion, because let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, Cannabis is a social thing. It's also a lifestyle choice. It's not this harmful, dangerous drug our government have made us believe it is whilst they profit. So now we have 2 filled totems, and we literally butt one to the other, like so. So now we have 2 totems. You have to lift off the flap on the bottom to open up the airway all the way through, and also lift at the top. 2 buttons which we'll hold down and press until we have a flashing light come on at the end. Hold down and press, the light comes on. If you press the button again, it will change the temperature. We have 4 temperature settings. My advice would be to stick on the lowest, at least to start with, because it can give you quite a heavy cough actually. So now we just wait for that flashing light to stop. I'm sure you can just see in the end here there's a flashing light. Once that stops flashing, it's heated and ready to go. I won't take it through a full cycle. There we go, that's heated. Obviously you can't see the light in the second one, but they're on the same time cycle. So now literally, like a giant cigar, you just breathe through it, basically. And I mean, this is a double whammy chamber now. And the flavour's exquisite. And that's on the lowest temperature. So we'll press the buttons once, press them simultaneously so we know they've gone up into temperature. It's now flashing as it increases to the next temperature range. There we go, we're done. Already I can feel that difference. A bit more vape, flavour's lovely. In terms of battery power, 1 unit wouldn't survive me for a whole day, but I use cannabis virtually every hour, thereabouts. So, you know, it wouldn't last me a whole day, 1 unit. It is like playing the flute. And you can even get another unit. I suspect 3 would probably be the limit, because then they might fall apart. You could potentially get 4. It's a lovely little vape. So that's the Totem, and I think that values at around 50 quid. And it's from Namaste Vapes. It's for a pocket vape. You can't grumble. The only criticism would be a lack of a filter here. A bit of a dust filter there would be nice. But if you just put your tongue in front of the airway, your tongue will catch any debris. And that's the Totem, ladies and gentlemen. It's probably these. Hold the buttons down and they turn off. Probably the simplest vape there is on the market, really, in terms of functionality. I reckon you'd probably get about 8 goes, 8 loads before your battery started running down. And it literally just charges by USB port in the mouth. And it doesn't take long at all. As you can see, there is a little bit of debris on the inside. So I'm hoping on their next model they'll have a little bit of a dust shield in there. Excuse me. So that, ladies and gentlemen, was the Totem. I'm going to put that to one side now. And then next on the list, what flavour am I using? Chris Morgan's asking. White Widow crossed with California Snow. From Ali Bongo Seeds, actually, that one. Here we have the Mighty. Mighty by name, mighty by nature is all I can say about this one. Someone's asking for a tune on the Totem. Totem's a nice bit of kit, very social. Now, I haven't got the full Mighty kit. In the box you get various bits of equipment, but it wasn't a brand new box, it's someone else's kit they've lent to me. So, you know, it does come with spare gaskets and gauzes and things like that. And I think it also has other bits of equipment that I haven't unfortunately got. Very good instruction manual, which I think is important because a lot of these vapes don't seem to have instructions, unless maybe you can get them offline. Something else I like about the Mighty, which I can try and show you with this picture. No, I haven't got it on there. You get these little magazines, a little silver magazine. It's not silver, it's probably stainless steel. And you can get these little tiny magazines, and I think they hold about 0.3 grams maybe. And you can actually pack these little magazines, and they come in a magazine holder. And you can literally just pop them in the top of your Mighty. So if you're out and about on the town, it's very, very easy to organise your dosing. So this one's actually already loaded as it happens. I'll come and show you the kit. The beauty of this, it's got 2 batteries, yeah? It's got double batteries. Unfortunately, they're not changeable, so you can't swap the batteries. Another downside is you can't stand this unit up. It has to lie down. So when it comes to filling and loading, it is a bit tricky. However, they do sell a very useful gadget, a loading gadget, which basically sits on top of your Mighty here, where you can drop your herb in, pop it in the oven, and then you won't make so much mess. So what I'll do, I'll just take this out to show you. So here we have the oven chamber here. Looking at that, we have a stainless steel oven chamber rather than a ceramic one. I'm not sure if you can see the light inside there. It also has another gauze in there to prevent, see what I mean, it's difficult to load now. So you have to kind of balance it and pinch it into the oven. Again, this is great for dosing because you can actually calculate how much herb you're going to be using. I still combust with tobacco, and I'm hoping with the gifts I've got here, with just a couple of vapes that will be mine after this, that I'm going to be able to give up smoking actually with those, because tobacco is poison, nicotine actually is poison, tobacco is also poison. So there you go, look, we just fill the little oven space with some herb. Here we have the mouthpiece. It's a very, very simple twist and lock mechanism. Couldn't be easier. You literally pop it onto the top, twist and lock, and that's it. Your Mighty's back in one piece. We have a big orange button on the side. You hold that button down, and then you can see here, we literally have degree by degree temperature control, which I think's outstanding. Now, I've been using this one for probably a few months really since I've been lent this. Personally, this is the best vaporizer I've ever used. I'm not being endorsed or paid by anyone for doing this. I'm just doing it for your benefit, no one else's. This is a really good vape. Expensive, yeah. It's big, it's heavy. It lasts. The battery power lasts twice as long as most other vapes. But what I love about it is it communicates to you. So now I've turned it on. I haven't taken the leap yet. I've got to take the leap. In a moment when it comes to temperature, it will vibrate and tell me it's come to temperature. So I can keep talking and waffling on. I love the airflow of the mouthpiece. As you'll see when I talk about the Spirit Storm in a minute, it's like I'm sucking a pea through a straw. Whereas the Mighty, even when I haven't cleaned, because I'm not very good at cleaning vapes by the way, I need to make a new ritual there. There's always this wonderful flow of vape. So that's just nearly at temperature now. I'm just starting to smell the aromas coming out of the top. Because this is aromatherapy at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. It is entirely aromatherapy. We're vibrating, now we're ready. And I love it because there's no resistance. As I'm breathing through there, it's just like breathing. It's no resistance at all. It'll fluctuate around that temperature just as it establishes the heat. Much better cloud of vape, did you see that? And that is at 175 degrees. The Totem gives you no degree control. Wow. The flavour is phenomenal. Gives me a tickle on the chest though, so I'm going to turn that down to 160, 165. So I've just knocked it down 10 degrees because that's making me cough. Someone's mentioning there's a phone app. There is a phone app for this. And that's what I mean, always, always banging clouds of vape. Never feel like I'm sucking a pee through a straw. The beauty is as well, you can use it while it's charging. So if it's plugged into the wall, you can still be using it. It also has an in-car adapter, so you could use it for travel. Excellent vape every single time. Now, when I load the oven, I'll do a cycle on 165. And then it'll cut out. I'm going to turn it off so I don't cough too much. And then it'll cut out. And then I'm able to leave that a little while, and then I can turn it on and do another second cycle. But I'll turn the temperature up by 10 degrees. Excuse me, I just need a little drink. My good friend Martin in the background here just mentioning it's very difficult to clean the mouthpiece. And I have to agree, I've got bilateral ulnar impaction syndrome and arthritis in my hands. My hands don't work very well. I'm not dexterous like I used to be in the past. And I would agree with Martin, it's very difficult to, well, that's relatively speaking. For someone who is less able, it's quite difficult to take this apart. You can see here we have this mighty piece. See how it just clicks down? Right, that clicks down. And then we flip this over and it wiggles out. But you know, I struggle because of the nature of my hands. I will just show you though, because it is this design that makes the Mighty so good, I believe, because you know, there's the gauze on the inside that stops you getting debris, which is very effective. And then this is the inside cooling chamber. Now, not sure if you can see all the channels and grooves, the depth of it. That is what gives the Mighty amazing vape flow, because it has that lovely chamber of space and it allows it to circulate, it allows it to cool, so the vape isn't hot. And that just goes back together, locked up. And as someone's just mentioned there, if you pop it in a cup of isopropyl alcohol, it will dissolve all the cannabinoids anyway and clean it for you. Isopropyl alcohol, because cannabis is alcohol solvent, it would dissolve in alcohol. So if you were to put that into an isopropyl alcohol mix, it would just dissolve the lot for you in a matter of hours. So that's the Mighty, which you know, if you can afford it, if you can only buy one vape and that's it, in terms of its... Hello again. Sorry, internet cut out. So, yeah, I do recommend buying this to people. It's a bit big. You know, for me this is an issue. It doesn't fit in my pocket. For me, I can't hold heavy things for long because it really makes my hands hurt. But about the house, it's fantastic. For someone who hasn't got this physical impairment like I have, that'd be a banging bit of kit in a nutshell. I don't know what it retails at, and I haven't checked the prices out on any of these, but it's a couple of £100. Better to invest than buy cheap things that then break, is what I have learned. Buy the best you can afford, or save and buy better if you can. I definitely recommend that to anyone. I have no complaints about it whatsoever, apart from it doesn't stand up. That's the only criticism. It's big, but it's mighty. There is a smaller version called the Crafty, which is half the size with just one battery, which is also worth having a look at. Someone here is mentioning about £250 for the Mighty. Thank you, Chris, for mentioning that. So that's my favourite, I can't deny it. In terms of quality, I mean, literally every single time, no matter how much I hadn't cleaned it, quality clouds of vape every time. Which will take me then next to the Spirit Storm. I like the Spirit Storm. First thing, best thing about it, we've got a changeable battery, which for me, you know, I'm an intensive cannabis consumer. I'm using cannabis, like I say, hourly. That might become less when I don't use tobacco, that is a possibility. But for me, the reason I end up not vaping is because the batteries always run out, and I end up not being able to consume my herb, which means more pain. So then I just turn around and smoke, because I can always just make a smoke, and my batteries don't ever run out on that. So, but this is the brilliant thing about the Storm. It's sleek. I I'd be worried to drop it. It feels like a type of metal to me. It has this very strong magnetic mouthpiece, and that is really strong. You know, I've put it down on the table in the past and it just picks itself back up. But you know, I love these features. It's got a lovely ceramic oven, quite a fair size actually. I'm very pleased with the size of that. You can fit plenty of herb in there, which I'll show you now by putting some in. It's also very easy to use. It does turn on by itself in your pocket. That's one thing I found. You know, I was putting it in my pocket, fits in your pocket brilliantly. But it does switch on in your pocket. So there you go, we've got the oven filled. Mouthpiece clicks on, either direction. In fact, I'll show you also before we get started. See, look, stands up. You know, that to me, it's an important bit of functionality, it's practicality. To have a vape I can't stand up while I'm filling, it's difficult, it makes it fiddly. Whereas the Spirit stands up beautifully. Now her mouthpiece, isn't it funny how I refer to them in the feminine? I wonder what that reveals about me. The mouthpiece again is a little bit fiddly, which for me is a problem, but for someone without hand problems, this will be an issue. They have a very small gauze area here, which gets blocked up quickly, I won't deny. And if you look in there, you can see there's lots of sticky THC or CBD oil resin, which is what builds up. I mean, the secret is don't be a lazy twat like fill and clean your vape, basically. It's a new thing for me getting into vaping, so oh, you should smell that. It wouldn't take much. I was sent these vape wipes from Vape Fiend when I ordered a replacement battery charger for the Mighty because I plugged it into my electric scooter by mistake. You know, if I actually took on a new routine, say, and you know, every time I had a vape, if I actually cleaned it afterwards, you know, then maybe I would find much better service from my vapes, which when I talk about the green fire is definitely the case, and I'll explain why. Now, I've literally just taken a moment just to have a little quick, these are alcohol wipes by the way, isopropyl alcohol wipes, and as I say, look, all that stickiness now, it's gone, it's clean. So basically, it's about developing a healthy cleaning relationship with your vaporizer. If you have a healthy cleaning routine, you won't ever have the problem I have, which is then blocking up. So, clicks on, clings the whistle, 3-button functionality. The top button we press and hold down and it turns on. There we go, it's popped on. Here we have single degree temperature control, which is amazing. You can set it by the degree and it heats quickly. I've got this set at 190 because even though the Mighty will kick out lovely clouds at 160 degrees centigrade, the Spirit Storm doesn't kick out so much vape at that temperature. So I will lower the temperature because I don't want it to be too hot. I've lowered it to 175 again, which is where we started the Mighty at. I don't know if you can see this, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, I don't actually, I need a proper camera. So we've got a lovely, it's got a timer on it, so I can set it so it lasts for 10 minutes or it lasts for 5 minutes. So you can actually, it's already to temperature, quick as that, it's temperature. I mean, the Spirit is fantastic in many ways. But for me, a bit too tight on the airways for me. Someone suggested if the police carried vaporizers instead of tasers, it'd soon calm the situation down. Yeah, I think you're right, probably would. So the airway, the air channels actually, we have vent holes here. I'm not sure if you're able to see them, both sides. So that's where your airflow is coming in. It's very, very close together. I was exaggerating then. Small clouds of vape then, you see. I'm going to turn the temperature up to 185. And it literally goes up in temperature as I press the button. That's how responsive it is. More vape on that one. And it tastes lovely. Plenty of vape there. Again, I don't know what the cost of this is, so you'd have to check out the cost yourself. This is the Spirit Storm. It's good features. You can change the battery. So you can charge up your second battery, which has to be charged inside the unit, by the way, which is a bit of a downside. But you charge up your battery in the unit, then you've got a spare battery. Be careful. These can set fire in your pocket, as our friend Rocky van der Benderskum discovered on his trip to Amsterdam. You have these loose in your pocket with chains, coins, chains or keys, and they make a connection, you're going to have a fire in your pocket. And that happened to friends of ours. So you have to be careful with these. You have to keep them, the battery, when I say them, you have to keep the battery isolated whilst in transportation. Otherwise you have potential of setting fire to things. Someone telling me these are about £110. That's a nice cloud of vape. And like I say, I love it because you can set the timer for 5 minutes to 10 minutes. In terms of kit, it comes with a lovely instruction book. You'll figure out why I keep banging on about those in a minute. And various bits of equipment. Here, a cleaning brush. You have these, look, Brillo pad gauzes, which I presume will be for concentrates and oils. Spare gauzes. So it comes well equipped. Battery doesn't come spare, you have to buy that separately. And I think this was a gift for me from Simon Edwards, if I remember correctly. It's a lovely vape. I'm going to turn it off because otherwise we'll be here for 5 minutes. Hold the button down, it turns off. You've got this lovely metal mouthpiece. It's really sleek in the mouth. And I do like it. It's a lovely vape. But it blocks quickly and I quickly feel like I'm sucking a pea through a straw. However, if I cleaned them more frequently, that likely would not be the issue. So to me it's about good cleaning practices. Next, the Arizer Argo. The Arizer Argo. This is outstanding, yeah. This is one of the most ingenious little vapes I've seen around. And I'll tell you for why. I love what it comes with, you know. I don't know if anyone else is like me, maybe I'm just a little kid at Christmas, but I like to see what they come with, what little tools, what little gizmos they've got. And I was over the moon when I pulled out of this one. It's got its own sheath carry case, yeah? Yeah? This is great. This is like portability at its best. We have, well, I'll show you that in a moment. The vape stores inside. The only downside is there we go. The vape stores inside this lovely little belt sheath. Only clips on, unfortunately, so it could knock off. Velcro fasten, strong Velcro fasten. Protects your vaporizer well. This is the piece of resistance for me, like. So my hands don't work well. Forgive me. Bear with me. Sorry. Hold on. Comes with a couple of tubes, whereby you have spare glass. Oh, that's ready charged. How nice when you find one ready charged. So. Here we have these glass cylinders, aromatherapy cylinders. Excuse me one moment, ladies and gentlemen. What do you want?
Have you got ready cough syrup?
No, I haven't. Okay, so there's the simple cap for that glass cylinder. So you can carry that as a spare. So when I went to the conference in London, I had this on me. You know, I had one loaded on the side, spare. And the way the vape works, this bit is a problem for me. If you're a bit gack-handed, for want of a better term. This is a tricky vape because it operates on this glass cylinder that I just showed you, and you've got to again, if you're not gack-handed and disabled like me, I've got bilateral ulnar impaction syndrome and chronic myofascial pain, so you know I have issues. But if you haven't got issues, it'd be no problem. But the glass cylinder, which if you notice has got a little gauze section halfway there, just that much of that's your loading chamber, and that's your airway, okay? And in there is your oven chamber, stainless steel, non-ceramic, okay? And what we basically do, I like this as a filling mechanism. Someone, Ashley, how do I get a flag like that? Send me your email with your address on, tell me what size you want and we'll post one out to you. We don't sell them, but if you can donate to help cover costs and postage, that'd be fantastic. So yeah, philmonk@WTUHQ.org, and that's how you get a flag like that, or a t-shirt like this, or a wristband, or whatever else it is. So yeah, you get your glass tube, your aromatherapy tube, and you can literally just twizzle it round and fill it. It's a lovely filling mechanism in that respect. And once you've got your preferred herbal health remedy, aromatherapy blend, tucked in there, you can just see the chamber, 0.1, 0.2 of a gram, not very much. Again, it's very convenient for dosage, this. We can then, that little hole just slots on the top and you get to push. You can hear my daughter coughing. I've been telling her to take her inhaler for months. She should start listening. That button on the back, simple but effective. That protects your mouthpiece from accidental droppages or anything like that, really. We do have at the bottom here changeable battery functionality. So this is exactly what a vape needs, in my opinion. For an intense user like myself, you need to be able to change your batteries out, otherwise you need to have more than one vape. So a very good battery there with some sort of locking button there, so it's not going to pop out in your pocket. USB charge port on the side, very easy. And literally, let me think, I haven't used this one for a while. You have to press 2 buttons to make this one work. And if you notice now, see the timer? Yeah, that was set to 2. You can set that to 10 if you want, which means you can't accidentally turn it on in your pocket, because you have to hold 2 buttons down for 10 seconds or whatever you set it for to make it come on. Then it just flashes. You have to press a button. I've got it set to 190. I'm going to bring that temperature down. I'm going to bring it back down to 175. That's where I started on with the others. So down 175. And if I remember correctly, this one's got a lot of communication with you. It will beep at you and tell you when it's ready or when it's running out. So it's very helpful in that respect. Heating very quickly there. Yeah, so I finally got around to doing the vape reviews. Cornish botanicals. Nearly at temperature there, so we just pop the protector down and just inhale through the... Not sure if you can see the venting here. See the grill there? That's your airway. Not at temperature yet, actually. I'm sucking too early. So it's just coming to temperature. I love this, like I said, because they give you... Oh, hear it beep? Just told me it's ready. They give you a lovely little packing tool. Now at temperature. It is a bit close to the mouth. And I suppose in terms of personal hygiene, if you're sharing it around, I don't know, is it hygienic? No less hygienic than a joint, I would say. Definitely healthier. Ooh, the flavour. In the pack, you also get a charging kit and and yeah, that's the plug and the charger. But this is the bit I love, because I could fill all that with herb. Look at that for cloud. Fill all that with herb. Stands up nicely for loading. All that could be filled with herb, and I could put it in my little magazine pocket. Yeah, so now I've got 2 magazines. I'm loaded for the day. I can't fault it. It's cool. These are for flower, Becky. Yeah, these are all for flower. We'll concentrate some of them. I love it because it's so small. It's so light. It gives that good vape. It comes with a lovely little pocket holster that you can load up with 2 chambers, so you can carry plenty of herb on you for the day. Ah, shit. Ah, that was my shoulder sort of in and outing. I love this kit. This is great. I love the way you can set the timer. I won't be baked from this, Steve. I can do this all day. I don't get high from cannabis. I get functional. So I won't be high. In fact, I'll be functional. I'll be able to do stuff. The battery lasts quite well, but you can spare it up and bring a spare battery. Consistently good vape. Easy to clean. If you're like me, you collect your AVB. When you finish vaping, I don't know if you know, but I'll tell you just in case. When you smoke cannabis, you're consuming at about 25% efficacy. In other words, you get about 25% of your cannabis, a quarter of it, and the rest goes up in smoke, literally. Dry herb vaporizing. It's around 75, 85%, depending on how much you cook your herbs. You know, you put it on high heat, you can cook them to hell, and you'll get like 80-90% of your herbs out of it. But if you moderately vape them, you can then collect your vapings. There you go, beeped at me, turned off now. I like the communication. So what you can do then, it comes out easy now, it's warm by the way. Now, in all honesty, I could leave that in and vape a second time round, yeah? That there isn't fully used, but for the purpose of the explanation, I have this jar here, and this is my AVB, already vaped bud, AVB. This is my AVB pot. Brendan saying here he's been telling his missus he doesn't get stoned from cannabis, he gets functional. Yeah, that's literally what it is. I don't get stoned, I get functional. So I collect my vapings. Now, if you don't overcook them too much, I mean a bit more than this in all fairness, but you know, just so there's no green left, so the green's just leaving. That's empty tube, as simple as that. Pop it back in there for safekeeping, job done. You collect up your AVB, it's got about 25% efficacy left. So that means that if you have an ounce, 28 grams of AVB, that is roughly an equivalent to about 7 grams or a quarter of a regular ounce. Now, the other beauty is that it's been decarbed, it's been cooked, which means it's changed its chemical composition, and the cannabinoid profile is now completely different to when it was fresh dry herb. So we now have different ranges of cannabinoids in there. I won't try and spout them all off because I'm not an individual cannabinoid expert. And then what you can do, I wait till I've got a couple of ounces or more, and then you just get your coconut butter or whatever particular oil that you prefer, and you get a rice cooker, a slow cooker. You put your oil, coconut butter, whichever you prefer, in there. You put all your AVB in there. I put water in as well, and put some water in too, and then I leave it overnight on a low heat. Simple as that. Following day, I strain it, get all the organic matter out, and strain the liquid into another container. Then that container goes in the fridge, and what will happen is the liquid, the oil and the water will separate, as oil and water always separates. The oil will go to the top, the water will go to the bottom. You put it in a freezer, you put it in, the water will freeze. You put it in a fridge, the oil will go hard, the water will stay liquid. Then you can make a hole in the corner, drain away your liquid, and you've now got cannabis infused butter. It literally is as simple as that. You don't have to do it with ABB, you can do it with fresh bud. Well, dried bud. And it's as simple as that to make a cannabis butter. But because this is vaped bud already, it's already been decarbed. So you've got different profiles in there. So you end up with a butter that you can use. I use it to make canna butter toffees with, and I find them quite delicious. When I go into hospital and I'm in there for a while and I can't take my herb, I'll make a load of canna butter toffees with AVB and take them into hospital with me. And then I have my medication while I'm in hospital because they fail to provide for me. So that is my advice, you know, keep your vaping. My friend Rocky van der Benderskum would say, that's rubbish, shit, chuck it away. But, you know, I'm broke, so I like to try and use everything I can. So that was the Arizer Argo, which I don't know the price, but I totally recommend. Between what I have here, the Arizer Argo and the Mighty, they're the two. Now we have here the Greenfly, which I think was from Origins. I loved this vape. Yeah, what's the name of this one? Gemma is asking me a question. This one. This one was the Arizer Argo, not Ergo, Argo. Arizer Argo. This one was the Spirit Storm. This one was the Mighty, Stores and Bickle Mighty. And these were the Totem from Namaste. Just to recap what we've done so far. Callie Blackwell's just joined us and says the Spirit is amazing. It is, it's a cracking little vape. And if you keep it clean, then it will always flow properly. If you don't keep it clean, it won't. Which is why I talk about this actually on the next one. The Green Fire, I think it was from Origins if I remember correctly. I loved this vape. I will be buying one eventually. Can't get it out of its packaging. It comes with just a very small box, very few parts. We have a glass cylinder of some sort, that'd be another heating chamber, and another glass cylinder. I don't actually know what they're for, but it might be in complete kit because someone's lent me this. So I love this. This is the most easiest to use vape I've ever found, best pocket vape I've ever used. It has only one drawback. If you don't clean it often enough, and I am going to blame myself, you could say this is a manufacturing fault. The way you change the herb, the mouthpiece here, which is glass by the way, borosilicate glass I believe, it twists off, yeah, it screws off like that. Unfortunately, I'll bring this closer for you to see. Unfortunately, what happened, let me try and bring it really in for you. Don't know if you can just see that little, it's broken there. And around the other side, what happened was literally the screws, see the screws there and the screw there, it got too sticky because of the residues, and that bit now which should unscrew is stuck in there because I can't unscrew it because the mouthpiece is cracked out of the screws. The owner very honourably said it was a manufacturing fault, and you know, perhaps it is. It's, you know, it's an obvious inherent weakness in the part because you know you've got to be bang on cleaning your vapes to prevent this happening. If ever, that's what the glass thing's for. It's an inner piece. If ever you do buy this, just keep it clean. Yeah, every single time you use it, keep it clean, and you'll never be unhappy with it. I don't think. The functionality was amazing because it's all one button, morning down. It's all one button functionality. You hold the button, I don't know if it's charged now. You hold the button down and I love it because it vibrates, okay? It communicates. We've got a bit of a Knight Rider thing going on, which I love it because I love Knight Rider. So that really works for me. And it flashes up and tells us as it's heating. Obviously I can't demonstrate because the mouthpiece is broken, unfortunately. And it will in a second, should I believe, stop going up and down and reach temperature. Less batteries going. No, I can smell it's heating. I seem to remember it heating quicker than this. Ah, there we go. So let's set the temperature. There you go. Double click of the button is to set the temperature. Double click. We've got 3, 4, 5 temperature settings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, you know, I normally go to number 3 myself because it makes me cough, and I don't like coughing. Now it's heating up because I set the temperature. I like it because, oh no, we don't have a changeable battery on this one, so it's a fixed battery, unfortunately. There we go, it's heated. Don't know if you can see. Oh no, my battery's run out actually. Believe it or not, it's actually loaded. It broke when being loaded. I'm using that without the mouthpiece. But I can't change it out. So this was the Origin Green Fire. It was my favourite. I just had that in my pocket all the time and it was really, really good. But like I say, maintain your airways, keep your airways clean, keep the screw thread clean, don't let it sticky up with the oils, and then you shouldn't have the problem I had, which is the glass mouthpiece breaking off the screws. But despite that issue, I will be purchasing one eventually myself, and then testing to see if it is down to my cleaning methods or lack of. So that was the Green Fire. You've probably heard me mention instructions a couple of times, how I've liked this box because it had instructions. Mighty had instructions, Spirit had instructions, Arizer Argo had instructions. Really good. Then we've got the Vivant Rift. Not sure if you can read that at home, back to front. Vivant, probably. Vivant Rift, Vivant. Wonderful packaging. Lovely, lovely packaging. But nice if it was all made out of hemp. Its presentation, again, phenomenal. Yeah. It comes with USB cable, cleaning accessories. But unfortunately, it doesn't come with any instructions. Now, you know, I'm by no means dull. I don't normally read instructions. I can normally just pick something up and have a little fiddle, figure it out. Not this bugger. No, couldn't get this working for the life of me. I don't know why. Yeah, here's the mouthpiece. I'll go through it anyway. It's got a pop-off mouthpiece on the end, which I did discover has got a sliding lock that opens and closes the mouthpiece, which that could be why we got no vape from out of it. So you're supposed to open it up and then position it, and then when you're not using it, presumably you close it and it goes back away. So that's quite a tidy thing. Don't know how secure that is. It doesn't feel quite secure like the Spirit does. And then the oven, we've actually got these 3 oven chambers here. And you're able to put different herbs in or fill it all with the same herb. It did have a nice little packing tool built in, which was quite useful. But unfortunately, no matter how I pressed the buttons, I couldn't actually get it to heat up. I couldn't get it to heat up and go to temperature. So I wasn't able to get this working. I couldn't find instructions for it. So I literally have no idea on the quality of its vape. Lovely bit of kit. It may be great. But in terms of functionality, it obviously isn't very straightforward, otherwise I'd have been able to figure it out. So that was the Vivant Rift. And then finally, we have here the Puri Magnum 2. Beautiful looking bit of kit. It feels quite weighty in the hand. It has a flexible mouthpiece on the top, so it's a bit less prone to breakage. It's nice that it's glass. I do like glass airways myself personally. I'm not a fan of plastic airways or anything like that. We have a combination of a ceramic and a stainless steel oven. Ceramic on the sides and stainless steel on the bottom. Not entirely sure what this is, maybe brass. It's got a whack of an oven in there, and I will just fill it up. Now, it stands up, which is helpful. I always like a vape that stands up. Of course, it makes a bit of a mess as you're filling. Again, I'll just give it a little poke down. So that's the chamber. It's not ram-packed full, I've just chucked a bit in there really. That to me would look like it might hold up to 1/2 gram or something. That looks like a really big chamber. We have a screw thread mechanism for the mouthpiece. So as long as you're careful with there, you'll be alright. You'll notice maybe we have a spinning collar here, and that allows us to set, first of all you've got the battery charging port in there, and also you'll notice this side 3 holes. That's for you to try and customize your airflow. You can make it 2, 3 holes, 2 holes, 1 hole, or even no holes. Now, I'm not certain this has battery power in it. Yep. So I've turned it on. That was 3 clicks to turn it on. I'm going to set it to degrees centigrade because that's what I prefer to work in. I held it down to set that. Now I've used this in the past, and now I've set this at 175. It's got a very fast digital display, lovely digital display. There we go. I've set it to 175, same as every other vape that we've used today, and that is rapidly heating. You know, you can see that oven temperature flying up by the degree. So you're not waiting for ages, caning your battery while it heats up. Okay, it's just coming to temperature. Vibrates, so it tells you when it's ready. That's good. Set for 3 holes. But this is what I found with this. I really struggled to get any vape. The flavour is nice. That's at 175, where all the others have been at the same temperature, bear in mind. Yet it still produces very little to no vape. Let's check it down to 2 holes on the airflow, see if that makes a difference. Still no vape. I'll drop it down to 1 air hole. Still no vape. So this is why I had it set at 200 odd, because it seems for this one it's got to be on a really high temperature. So I've set it to 200, the temperature's now rushing up, and it's 200 already. You know, it flies up, buzzes. Now we have vape. Just been advised by Francis Hall, who is of Grove Street Journals and also Urbanistic. He actually donated one of these for the WTU raffle in the last month's raffle, I believe it was. And he's saying that if you sip it rather than a strong pull, you get more vapour. He's right. Nice one, Francis. In fact, that's the best experience I've had with this vape. And this is the thing, every vape is individual and unique, same as ours and our endocannabinoid system. So you have to, it's too hot for me that is. Take it down to 190, see if it still produces. Excuse me a second. Already down to temperature. Brilliant, brilliant gadget. And it's lovely and sleek. Quite long. Would fit in your pocket. Definitely discreet. The vape clouds have lowered now. So it seems to me that it doesn't need to be at a high temperature to give clouds. But some people don't like clouds. But again, tidy bit of kit. I don't know how 180 to 185 Gemma's saying is her sweet spot. Yeah, I'd agree with that. And like Francis says, a gentle pull. You know, you're going to rush it too quickly, so slow pull. Still making nice clouds. And now I haven't used this one, so I can't comment on battery stamina, mainly because I couldn't actually get a good cloud of vape out of it, so I drifted away from it and stuck with the Mighty and the Arizer. And the green fire till I broke it. So, it works. But if you compare the clouds I was getting from the Mighty with this, you can see why I prefer the Mighty. But the Mighty is not discreet. You know, it's a bit harder to pull that out. Whereas this one here, you can get away with it a bit more. Automatic power off. And that's that one finished. One thing I haven't done actually is looked at how well the herb vapes. But I suppose I've turned them off before their full cycle anyway. So that wouldn't really give us a full measurement. If I had to choose any one of these, any one out of all of these, I think it would have to be the Mighty. I really do. I'm torn between the Mighty and the Argo. I love the Argo because I can change the battery, so I'm not going to run out of battery as easily, whereas I know from experience the Mighty can't manage me for a whole day. It's not mighty enough for me for 24 hours. It really isn't. But that's because I'm a caner, I suppose. I really do use quite a lot of herb. I hope that's helped. I don't know if there's questions there for me. If there are, I'll come in and write some answers afterwards. I just wanted to have a little run through these vapes because Tim Henley, the chap that's loaned them to me, he's going to be coming to collect them before too long, so I will have to return them. So, you know, he lent them to me to try and give me an experience of different vaporizers because he knows I'm a man of limited means and I can't keep buying different ones experimentally. And also, I was meant to make some vape reviews as well. I've had them for months, but I've just never really had the time or made the time. I've started a couple of times and then something's come in the way, but my wife and daughter have popped out to see Grandma today, so it gave me a quiet time. How can I do a vape review without the packs? I haven't got the packs at the minute, Steve, from Cornish Botanicals. The packs, which is Lou's, which actually lent it to my dad to try and teach him to vape and not smoke, because smoking's nearly had his foot chopped off 4 times. So we need to go and get that back. He loves it. He's now a vapor and no longer combusts. So that means he's not likely to have his feet chopped off anytime soon. And I'm not exaggerating there. It's literally my dad's nearly had his foot chopped off 4 times to my recollection because of tobacco smoking and smoking joints. And I've tried to get him into vaporizers. Haven't been able to find the right one for him. He's tried the packs, that seems to be the right one. So unfortunately, I can't actually review the packs for you now because it's off doing good work further up in somewhere else in the country. When I get it back, I'll do another review. If I get any more vapes, I'll do more reviews. I just wanted to give something back to you really because I know it is so difficult choosing a vape. I've spent several £100s. I bought the Iolite, which is a gas-powered vaporizer, which is great for camping and things, but it doesn't have the right high temperatures. I bought the K24, which the mouthpiece broke in no time. I bought the Herb 4, which fizzled out on me in no time. So I was then stuck thinking, I haven't got money to keep buying these vapes. And then I was loaned these. I have been gifted this one, I think from Simon, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I was gifted that from a fellow member, which was much appreciated. And I was gifted the Totem, which is much appreciated. But even those alone aren't enough to keep me off combustion. They haven't got the stamina. The Mighty does, so we'll see. I think that's everything. What are the prices on what side? These vapes here, Steve, I haven't talked about prices because I haven't got a clue. And I'm not actually pushing any particular company or brand, and every different shop will have a different price. So I literally haven't got a clue of the prices. You'll have to look those up yourself. But hopefully you can look at this video and get a bit of an idea on their functionality and their practicality. So I'm going to have a coffee and a spliff now actually. After all that talking, I feel like a joint. Because I still haven't quite given up combustion. I do enjoy it. As well as the fact it takes my pain away, it makes me feel good. So I don't see where there's a crime in that. Any questions, fire them in. If you're a business and you've enjoyed me doing these reviews and you want me to review some of your products, please get in touch, see if we can figure something out. If anything I can do to help any of you, just give me a call or email. Someone's asked about a flag and the t-shirt, email me or visit our website, www.wtuhq.org, and then go to the merchandise page, and also visit our friends page to find out the businesses who are supporting us. And also on there you've got the survey for the crowd justice case that we're building, so if you want to take part and have your story in the case, we need your survey. Also we've got a place where you can undersign yourself, actually become undersigned on the website. So there's a lot of things going on the website actually, so it's well worth having a visit. I'm going to go and have a rest now, so lots of love, speak soon, take care and keep your spirits high. Take care folks.